less so much the tool is what makes it. Yeah, that's my vote. All right, what's the next one? I love this. This is awesome.
Next one is HIIT cardio for fat loss.
Overrated.
Why?
Oh, so here's the deal. Years ago, there were bodybuilders. One guy was a guy named Phil Visacaro. There were these bodybuilders that were experimenting with HIIT cardio at the end of their leg training routines because these guys were advanced bodybuilders. And if they lifted any more weight, their spines would explode, right? They weren't power lifters. They were bodybuilders. There's only so much weight you can lift before the orthopedic is not worth it. So the number one way that we tell people to get muscle mass and get stronger is add more load to the bar. These guys and gals are so well developed. They're so close to that 99th percentile of their ability. They've got to use all these weird and wacky techniques to try and get any type of gains, right? So they can't get stronger. So they got to do things like metabolically disturb the muscle in order to gain muscle mass. That's what they're down to. The problem is these are advanced bodybuilders who have no other options other than to do this because to lift more weight is just going to destroy their bodies. HIIT cardio is one of those things that people seem to just pull right out of the gate. What I'm understanding is it is really something that comes down the line. Number one, you have to be in some kind of condition and shape, and you actually have to know what intensity is and how hard you can push your body before you can even take advantage of high intensity cardio. Just like with those bodybuilders, to take advantage of high intensity cardio is a way to metabolically overload your legs, which is probably a valid technique, really only comes after you've learned to lift so much weight you can't lift any more weight anymore. Right. So it's one of these things I'd like to see people get their diet down, just get more active because it is intense and it is painful. And after warm up and cool down and everything else, you're not really saving a ton more time. If it floats your boat, I'm happy for you. But in my experience, over time, it is highly overrated. It is something you bring out later on, and you only bring it out one day a week, really, in the beginning. And then you can do a second. I wouldn't do it more than 2 days a week. What happened was all these people, particularly I found it women, were doing it like 5 days a week. And then they were getting burned out and injured. They were breaking bones in their feet. They were getting stress fractures in their feet. They were injuring their knees, injuring their hips, injuring their back. Because first of all, they were doing right out of the gate, and they were doing it 5 days a week. And again, it's a very intense but precise strategy you have to use at only given points of your workout weight loss journey. So definitely overrated. I certainly wouldn't build a business model around it. Well, if I was into just making money, I would, because it makes people really tired. And people think if something makes them really tired, then it must be working. But the downsides of it, it's just, yeah, no, definitely overrated.
Yeah.
Plus the whole afterburn thing is complete nonsense. Right? That was a misplaced decimal point in a research study. You're not burning more calories after the workout is over. Remember the whole thing was like, well, if you do intervals, you have this blowtorch thing going on, right? The only way that's going to, you don't have that. Here's the shiny thing. The most calories you burn relative to exercise is during the exercise period itself. The burn afterwards, whether it's high intensity, which, probably has much more of an afterburn effect than low intensity cardio, but it's not that much. It's not going to change your weight loss life. And it really is like, it's like fasted cardio. People get all wacko about fasted cardio. And it's like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for people who aren't like those people that Phil Visacaro train that are advanced bodybuilders. But if you're down to like 6% body fat and you're doing everything right in terms of calorie control and supplementation, both legitimate and illegitimate, then fasted cardio may offer you a benefit because it's about that much you have left to make a difference. For the average person, no, it's not going to make any difference at all. In fact, you'll probably go into the gym first thing in the morning hungry and bang your head on the treadmill when you pass out from low blood sugar. Right? But no, overrated. What do you think, Devon?
So overrated for fat loss. I think a lot of times, the first thing that comes to mind is, like you mentioned, those women that try to do HIIT multiple times a week, thinking that they're burning a lot more calories than they are. I mean, it's hard for someone who's not like an advanced athlete and really knows how to exert themselves in that way. Like, it's hard to really make it as productive calorie burn wise as most people think. And you're going to be better off just paying more attention to your nutrition and managing your energy balance that way. Maybe doing, like you said, when appropriate, maybe once a week, doing some HIIT cardio, it can be beneficial. But like, let's not forget the bigger picture. Like, your calorie intake is going to be the biggest thing. Lifting weights to keep your muscle, that's going to be the biggest thing. And then just your overall activity throughout the day. You can be, there's a term for this, I forget, you might know it, but there's a term for people that exercise really consistently, but they're so sedentary throughout the day.
Well, their NEAT is not, their non-exercise activity thermogenesis is nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the calories you burn in your life are not during exercise. If your name's not Michael Phelps, right? Well, he's competitive Michael Phelps. You're not burning more calories in exercise than you are throughout the rest of the day. So that's a good point. That's another downside. If you trash yourself in your workout and then you're garbage for the rest of the day, you're probably losing most of your potential calorie burn, especially considering the fact that the calorie afterburn effect is just not that great.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so I would say overrated, and like, use it occasionally when, if and when appropriate, but don't forget the first three things are going to be way more important, is your calorie intake management, your lifting weights to preserve muscle as you lose weight, to make sure that when you do lose weight, it is from fat and not muscle, and then your non-exercise activity. So making sure you're looking at HIIT as like the cherry on top, and those other three things I mentioned, that's like the main event.
Yeah, and if I hadn't seen all the orthopedic costs that comes with a lot of this stuff, especially again with most of the women who are trying to lose weight, high intensity cardio and their physical structure don't exactly go like together like peanut butter and jelly, or to quote Rob Schneider and Big Daddy, lamb and tuna fish, right? They don't go together very well. And the number of foot, ankle, and hip injuries, mainly because this stuff is brought on too early. Maybe after they lose 10 to 20% of their body mass, they could then do interval work. That's another reason why I probably should left later in the routine. Because once you're a lighter person, you can generate more intensity with cardio with less of an orthopedic stress. So that would be another little thing I'd throw in there too. It really is. It should come later and planned within the exercise routine stuff. But like anything, like look at. That's not even another bad example is collagen protein. We'll get to that later. When it first came out and people misread, well, the writers misread the data. People were just doing it all the time, when it's really only supposed to be meant to be done by advanced exercisers some of the time when all the other options have been exhausted.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, I really am enjoying